Hello, it's Matt Chapman, and I'm with Nico Reynders in Belgium with UCB. Hi, Nico.
Good evening, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. Now, for those listening, and your role is obviously head of talent for go-to-market, which is an interesting role, which I want to unpack in a second. But tell us about UCB, first of all, because a lot of people might not know that company.
Yeah, so we're a Belgian biopharma company. We have about a revenue of 5 billion euro that's spread very globally. Of course, like any healthcare company, a lot in the US. We are focused a lot on the epilepsy market, rheumatoid arthritis, launching in dermatology next year, and moving into rare diseases as well. So quite an interesting area. Our main focus is to make sure we make a difference for every patient at the end of the day, rather than focus on our internal way of working, trying to focus as much as possible to really make a difference for a patient, which is a very interesting challenge in these days, given the situation that we're all in the world, I think. So,
Yeah, and tell us, head of talent for go-to-market. Explain your role.
well, we have quite funky internal titles. So if I translate it externally, it might be a bit more simple to understand. I'm basically the head of HR for everything that's commercial, starting from phase 2B development all the way to bringing it to market and loss of exclusivity. So that means covering all the commercial teams, the medical teams across the world, which in our case goes from all the way of US and Brazil to Europe, of course, heavily, and then in Asia as well, with China and Japan being the biggest countries and a number of other countries there as well.
So I know a particular area of massive interest to you is the increased digitization of how we're working and the impact that's having on the workforce. Share your thoughts on that topic.
Yeah, I think the so let's maybe start with the workforce as a general topic. I think there was a trend already starting before COVID on a major change in how companies employ people and how the workforce is evolving. There was much more fluidity between people that have a permanent contract for many years and people that come in and go out of companies again. And I think that COVID has only reinforced that speed up and that different workforce. We also have a complete change in work-life balance, and I don't think work-life balance is the right word anymore. I think it's more becoming work-life blend. We all work and live in the same place these days, which is home. And so from there, we make a difference for all the good causes that we have. In our case, we make a difference for the patients suffering from epilepsy and other diseases just from our home. And I do think that changes the workforce significantly. It changed the way of working. And then from that, it brings topics to the attention that honestly were like a given. I was used to travel 50, 60, 70% of my time. And so I'm quite sure I won't travel 70% of my time anymore, even post-COVID, just because of this acceleration. I was used to work from home maybe half a day a week, maybe. And I'm very curious to see how that will be in the future when, again, once this crisis is over. So we'll have to review a lot of concepts that honestly we haven't looked at for years. And that's going to be interesting. And it also makes me think that, yes, we can do that now. I wonder, though, whether reviewing those concepts now is a smart thing to do, because we're still managing a crisis. And I wonder whether it's not good to continue managing the crisis, but take a step back when the crisis is more balanced, more behind us, and then look at how we can turn managing a crisis into creating and grasping an opportunity. Make it more of a positive opportunity rather than managing a crisis.
That's a really interesting perspective, actually. Now, you also, said to me in an email sort of previously about resilience being something that's on your mind, and I just finished a call with another leader in Dubai who said, 2020 is the year of unprecedented. 2021 is the year of resilience, which I thought was quite something to think about and look forward to, or not. But tell us more about what's on your mind.
Well, I don't know how it was for you, but when COVID started, first of all, very far away, because it started in China. I was in the US at the time, so very far away. And then when it came closer, and I remember March 13, the day where in Belgium the lockdown started, I remember talking to my wife saying, is this going to be a 1 or a 2 week thing? And so at that time, it wasn't resilience, it was just managing something. And then we all started realizing, okay, this is not going to be in terms of weeks, it's going to be months. And now we're even thinking years. And so that changes the dynamic a little bit. And you have leaders that are great at developing people, running a business, and bringing innovation when things are going right. But when things change, it becomes more challenging. And you have other type of leaders popping up that actually might be less innovative, but that bring that resilience to the table. And so, given that the world, I think it's a fact, the world is changing every day. It was changing before, and it's all accelerated because of this. Given that, Matt, I do think that the leaders that will demonstrate the right level of resilience and the right level of adaptability will be probably those that will be most successful going forward. And that means that as an HR group, as a community, we have an accountability to help leaders develop those skills and to get more and more prepared for things that you can't be prepared for, because you don't know what are the business aspects that will come your way. You just need to be prepared for anything, basically. And how do we develop that? I wish I had the answer, because then I think I would be very quickly very rich. But unfortunately, I don't.
Yeah, we of course have to be very broad-minded, and I guess this has opened up the awareness that anything is possible. Now, the final area I wanted to touch with you on is the area of continued integration between the work and our life outside work. And this, for me personally, has always been a fascinating area of exploration because, as you know, Chapman CG was virtual from the start. So it was a lifestyle that I wanted to create for my employees. But it's inspiring when I see this now being something that many people have to embrace more than ever.
Well, I think companies like yourself and many others were a bit ahead of the world. And I'm sure you've done many efforts to make it spread more, but you could never imagine that something like this basically, makes it spread automatically, immediately. As I said before, I think it becomes much more of a blend rather than of a balance. And I think that, again, the key will be, how do we make it an opportunity? How can we look more at people from here's what you need to achieve in the next 2 months, and you find a way to achieve that. Like you guys, basically your role is bringing talented people into companies, right? But whether you do that from New Zealand, Asia, US, or anywhere else is not the key point. And so I see it as a massive opportunity to bring back into business life people that were not that accessible before, people that for some reason had to be at home, whatever that reason is, whether it's taking care of elderly or being elderly yourself, or what. There's a massive advantage of bringing people to the workplace again, as long as we agree that the workplace is not a building, but that the workplace is a virtual environment. And I hope we can really turn it into a positive thing rather than managing a problem. Because that will help us to grow, even for us being society, to grow even further, to bring more solutions to patients, to people that are suffering from things, to integrate them more in the workplace again. And then there's one major condition which you asked me about before, which is, let's make sure we can take care of the well-being aspect of all of this, because a work-life blend should not become a continuous workplace. There needs to be ways where you can disconnect, and those ways are very different than before. Even 20 years ago, the way to disconnect is you get in your car and you drive home and you're disconnected. And today that doesn't work. And so we will have to be much more flexible in saying, look, it's 11 a.m. in the morning, but still I'm going to do something because I'm going to work this evening. And I feel that the world is getting more and more ready for that, or at least in our company, people are getting more and more ready for that. So I see massive opportunity, and it's also why I want to avoid to take too many major decisions now to change ways of working, just because now it will be done in the trend of how do we get through this. Whereas in, let's say, 6 to 12 months from now, I hope it's going to be how can we turn this into something positive for the rest of our work life.
Fantastic insights there, Nico. It's been a long time since I've seen you physically, sharing mind, and very good at the same time together. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.